This is our third Produce By, and I think every year we meet more and more producers, and it's just really, they're always friendly. I think as conferences go and as guilds go, personally I would say that this guild is the most genuine and authentic guild that we work with. It's very warm, and I think it's really ironic because if you don't work in the film industry, I think there's a stereotype that LA is very shallow and the industry is very shallow and it's like sharks and dog eat dog. But the actual people who do the work, I think, have respect for each other and appreciate how hard it is. And I think they're actually more genuine and authentic than people give them credit for outside of the business. So this year for us, it's been a big growth year over the last year for Ben, and so we have a really great story to tell. So we see returning producers and faces we've spoken with in the past, and we have something to report. And then for new faces that we haven't worked with or spoken with, we have really exciting news to share about Ben, the Branded Entertainment Network. I've been doing this a long time, and so I still call it product placement. I think it's more grown up now. I think that traditionally it was very below the line. It was, it was in-kind resources. It was loaning cars, which would definitely offset budgets, or loaning a location if you had a fast food client. But now it's really grown up and it's more monetized. And brands, again, with skip-through technology, I mean, I have kids and I don't think they watch commercials ever. And so how do you reach those audiences? And they're also watching content across verticals. So audiences aren't just watching TV or feature films. They're watching streaming content, they're watching YouTuber influencers. And it's about being smarter, I think, with product placement. It's about being strategic because there's so much content out there. I'm being really smart about where you invest your dollars. We were acquired a few years ago. We were an agency, a traditional product placement agency for 35 years. Bill Gates acquired us a few years ago, and what that allowed was not just the power of programmers and the technology that he brings to the space of product placement, but he also invested in several years study on really the efficacy of product placement. And what it's telling us is really that audiences are not adverse to product placement. I think that's important for producers to know, because sometimes product placement can be considered as selling out. It can be considered as compromising the IP and your narrative. But what we're finding is that if it's done correctly and in an organic way, and it's not disruptive to the story, audiences expect it, and they're not offended by brands. And so that's really been terrific, the numbers to support that. And we're also seeing that the numbers, the dollars have increased over the last year from advertising community. So the advertisers are actually migrating to the space of product placement, and they're not moving all their dollars, but they're moving a good amount of dollars from 30-second spots to paying to be integrated into storylines. It's a great question. I think what Ben can do is, for both sides of the equation, it can help provide strategy. So what we do is we aggregate all the on-screen opportunities within a script from a producer who's provided their script to us. We'll break it down by scene, and all those opportunities for a brand or a product category, whether it's automotive or fast food or beverage or beer, that's all cataloged into our database. And what that does is it matches for a campaign for a brand that's interested in working in entertainment. So basically, it's like Match.com, if you will, for brands who want to participate in content and for content creators to connect with those brands the other way. So we really act as this broker, or Yenta, if you will, for brands to connect. And it's much more strategic. Again, years ago, product placement was really below the line, and there were a certain amount, and that was we were able to handle it below the line because there wasn't as much content. But again, you had 6 major networks maybe and feature films. Now, weekly, you have new platforms that are launching with content. So it's how do brands understand the entire landscape and how can they really filter where they want to focus their dollars. And then also how do the producers and the studios and the networks reach those brands. And so it really acts as this matchmaker. It's a subscription-based database, and you need to be granted access as a decision maker on behalf of a brand, whether it's a media agency, an advertising agency, or a marketer. I think the process is still the same in approaching content. It's still all content, whether it's being distributed on a streaming platform or it's being distributed on an ad-supported or a subscription premium cable channel. It's still really the same process. It's really about starting with the story, and that's really where we start at the beginning. Nothing starts until we understand from the producer or the writer the story that they're trying to tell. And then it's about finding the brand that best matches their narrative, and it starts with that. And I think that's all still the same, even if the distribution models are different. It's about the narrative of what they're trying to say. In the next year, Ben's evolution is that it'll have persona-based matching, meaning that we're able to take a storyboard or any information that's provided, visuals or any of the information that we get from our production, renderings and that kind of energy and information will reside in Ben, and that can match with a brand brief that's provided that's similar from the client side. So we're able to match, Jane, who's a mom in the Midwest, to this particular film. There's nothing else out there like that, and it's really exciting for us. It's a great lead generator, and again, it makes this terrific match, but from there, it's really the conversation that we have from that point with the production. Again, it's not a click to buy, and we're not trying to commercialize any of the content that's out there. We approach storytelling with reverence. So it's about us coming to you at that point saying, we have this brand and this is what they're about, and what do you think? And then starting the dialogue from there. I think that the digital space is the most nascent space. It's also what we see from the buying side, from the media side, where the dollars are most being allocated. So it's really interesting. The media side of and the brands, it's so new, YouTube influencers or digital content, that they know they need to be there, and they're actually moving even more dollars to that side of it. So I think for any of the producers that are working in that space, happy to contact us, and we'll help guide you to those brands who want to spend money with you. But I think it's just encouraging. The research that we've done indicates that it's almost like 90% of brands out there recognize that they need to be in this space, and that's super encouraging for any of the creators out there. And actually to know you actually have a leg up on traditional content, on television or even feature films. We see more brands passing on those opportunities and actually looking for influencers and for digital content.